Hello, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Today, we're going to be covering the fall of the House of Usher, which is basically a retelling of several of different works from Edgar Allan Poe. Let's start with Yeah, as we normally do.
All right, so I am a huge fan of Edgar Allan Poe's works. However, I was really excited about this show. They started that series with one of his most famous, if not the most famous work he's done called The Raven. So, The Raven pretty much centers around this person that is grieving, being taunted by an actual raven who repeatedly says nevermore. In episode one, Roderick Usher, which is the main character for all intents and purposes, who is at the funeral of several of his children at one time. And he sees the raven just kind of sitting there in the back of the church. I love how they modernized the works in this show. There was a lot of Gothic themes within the show, a lot of imagery, very dark. It gave me everything that I would want in the show: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You name it, it was there. And you just kind of weave Poe into that. You can't go wrong. So I'm gonna get off of that for just a minute, and we'll get more into the debauchery that is this entire series. What are your thoughts so far, Fifi?
So I actually really like this. I started watching it today because I knew that we were going to record. And honestly, like once that first episode went off, I was like, well, I gotta watch more. I gotta watch more. But I like it though because honestly, Edgar Allan Poe has been one of those works that I've taught as an English teacher, but also something that I read. And you know how you read work, different works, and you're always like, what does this mean? Like you're trying to figure out the literature and like the themes and all those things. But Edgar Allan Poe has always just been more like grotesque and scary, and it's very interesting. And so like the Telltale Heart is something that I've read with my kids. The Raven is something that I read with my kids, and so it's something that has always been interesting. And so when I saw that the Fall of the House of Usher was based on like some of his works, it's actually pretty interesting because now I'm like, oh, how can I incorporate some of this in like some of the classes? Not like our ninth grade classes, obviously, but like the 11th and 12th grade class. Well, 12th grade because it's AP Lit. But I'm like, I feel like this can get kids more interested in literature. I don't know, but I'm only on episode 4. Like I have not finished the miniseries yet, but so far I love it.
I like that you named the different works and the actual title of the show, The Fall of the House of Usher. That's actually a work as well. Oddly enough, not the name of one of the episodes, but just overall, The Fall of the House of Usher. There are so many, I like how you said theme. You're such an English teacher at heart always. So many overarching themes, the allegory. I mean, you name it, it's there. So again, put that on film. You got, yeah, it's a buy-in for me. Like I could not take my eyes off the screen. It was nasty. It was interesting. It was drama. You name it. Like, who can still stand up after all 6 of their kids are killed violently? Violently.
Well, what was the name of his last child? Starts with a P.
Prospero.
Prospero.
I think
Prospero. Yeah, I think he would have been able to stand up because the first thing that we see with him, he's in bed with about 15 different people, half of them men. So he can stand.
Prospero is the personification of debauchery, of tomfoolery, you name it. That's Perry. And Perry was actually in one of his works, The Mask of the Red Death. So he was called, actually, I think there's another work called Prince Prospero, something like that. Either way, Prospero was something. He decided, I don't want to spoiler alert with The Mask of the Red Death, but in the original works, Prospero decided that he was going to cheat death by getting him and a whole bunch of other rich nobles and locking them away in this monastery type place. And we're not going to get the plague. We're rich. We don't have to deal with this. So, he has these 7 separate rooms, all different colors. The last one's black. No one really wants to go in that one, but I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to get into the Mask of the Red Death because that's what it centers around. But Prospero was something. He was just like, nope, I'm above this plague. I'm not going out like this. I got too much money for this. So look, y'all meet me here. We're going to have us a party while everybody else out there dying, and we're going to just get into some real gutter stuff. It's going to be a masquerade ball. It's going to be a good time, much like Prospero in this show, but it did not end well.
Yeah,
I am so interested in whatever it was that you were retelling, like whatever Prince what, like like I want to hear it because like it sounds interesting, just like the show. It sounds very interesting. Like I really want to read it.
I felt so bad for him I
The
did not
bastard.
want him to be the first one to die. Like, because when you think about it, so first of all, there was so much like dramatic irony in that episode. Like, as the audience, we knew what was up, but he just didn't know. And in my head, like, I don't want to give it away either, but the way that they died, I knew that was coming. It actually reminded me of Game of Thrones, the Red Wedding, where we're like, no, because with
Ooh.
that one, we didn't know what was about to happen with that. But with
Now
this
look,
one,
hold up, wait a
I
minute.
knew what was
The
coming.
Red Wedding was the best hour of
Yeah,
television
I
ever
knew
in my
what was
entire
coming
life.
there. But I felt bad because
Take
he
me
was
back.
like the kid where he just wanted them to take him seriously. He wanted some type of acceptance from the other siblings. And he's like, I know that I'm the bastard child. Y'all know that. But I need something to stand on my own. And he thought this was going to be that thing for him. So I don't know, like just his character. I just felt bad that his character was number one, the first. But also like he just wanted that acceptance, that love, and like he wanted to build his own credibility as an usher, right? Because we learned later that he didn't even realize he was part of this family until he was like 16 years old. So to go from like rags to riches, but still not be accepted, and to have people almost laugh in your face, I don't know. That made me feel bad for him. And the way he died, it was like, no, why him? I feel bad.
I was not
I
excited.
don't.
I agree with Fifi. I was not excited to see Prospero go so soon because he's cunning. To me, he's kind of a borderline genius. You know, most smart people are batshit crazy. So it's
Yeah,
like I wanted to see more of Perry. I really did.
yeah,
Like I enjoyed watching him try to smash his brother's wife. Like Perry, you had to know
right,
this was not gonna go well. Okay.
I didn't like that
right.
part. I didn't like that part. I
It
didn't. I
was
didn't. I
messy.
didn't. I guess that's the prove in me. Like the prove in me is like, no, not your brothers. No, don't do
He had
that.
to though. The way his brother did him at that board meeting, he's like, you know what? Because that wasn't a part of his plan. But then when he thought about it, he's like, you know what? I know. He said it. I know how to fuck over him really well.
He
Like,
did, and I love the plan. I just didn't like it. It was just like, would my sister do something like that with me? Like, no, it's just the thought of it.
but here's the thing: the Raven, like the woman tried to say, like, tried to give him a chance. Hey, you still have a chance to stop. Even with the wife, she said, go now, and she decided, no, I want that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like she
Mhm.
tried to give him a chance to get out of it.
She did, but okay. So that was the problem that I had with her in that moment. Okay, so when I was watching it the first time, I was like, okay, you're giving him a chance, but he doesn't know what the consequences are going to be. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
Mhm.
it's like a false chance. Like, am I supposed to
I
believe
don't
that
want
you
to.
have all this kind of power? Like, no, like I'm not even thinking like that. Like, eh.
I don't want to spoiler, but he was damned either way. Now, as far as the wife of Frederick, she could have gotten out, but
Mhm.
maybe
He was too
Perry
intrigued.
didn't have to go out like that. But either way, your fate was sealed before you even took your first breath.
You
So
don't think he had a chance to be like, you know what? You're right. There are consequences. Because she even broke it down, like even you were a consequence of your parents' actions. They didn't know that was coming, but you were a consequence. So I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Like it makes me wonder: could there have been a different ending for him if he would have been like, you know what, you're right. Like I'm thinking there
it
are
would
no
have been an ending.
consequences, but
It would have
yeah,
still been an ending. Nonetheless, it would have still been
yeah,
an ending, but he didn't have to go so painfully like that.
yeah.
But it
I
was
That is
feel,
a
gonna happen.
horrible way to
I, f-
go.
oh yeah, I feel like you're alluding to the actual literary work. Like, no, it would have been an ending. Like, it's like you just don't want to tell us. You might as well tell us because I mean, the
Well,
world has had access to his work
well,
for how
no,
many
just
years?
even within the
Mhm.
show. Watch the show. Like in the show, like it was going to happen. Just think about. I don't know if
I
you
mean, he could
remember
have
the last
canceled it.
episode.
He could have
Huh?
made everybody leave. He could have made everybody leave.
So, and he may have not gone in that moment, but he was going to go. I'm telling you. So, I don't know if you remember the last episode and how
Mhm.
things kind of got tied in a bow as
Mhm.
far as the usher go. But he's still an usher. He was gonna have to go.
Do you think maybe
He
the
just didn't have to
Raven?
die so violently.
Do you think maybe even the Raven had like a conscience? Like, nah, he's so young, and because he is so young, nah. But at the same time, oh, I'm just remembering the grandchild. Like,
Yeah.
eh, eh,
And so
eh.
even so again, that's another piece that was woven in from the work. So, if you remember some of the lines from the Raven, Lenore, I think Lenore was mentioned in the Raven. Lenore was obviously mentioned in the Raven, because that was him mourning his love. So I love how they took the original works, but instead of it um, being the grandchild, I think it was like actually a romantic love or something like that in the work. But I love how it was just so like modernized, but you used the original works. Like this is just beautifully written for me. Like you didn't keep everything the same, but it worked. Like I am a stickler for, hey, if you're gonna do it, make sure it makes sense. Don't contaminate the works and then it be sloppy. Like, if you're gonna change it, let it be a good change. And I think you and I have talked about this in other shows. Like, okay, look, if you're gonna change it, add stuff, take something away, but it has to make sense. So, with this with Lenore, I did not love what happened, but hey, like I said, it was gonna have to happen. You know, and how the Raven sat there and was like, "Hey, hate that I have to explain what bloodline means, but here we are."
So okay, so when the dad, what's the dad's name again?
Roderick Usher.
Roderick. So when he was telling the story about Prospero, he said the one thing that you got to understand about Prospero is that he's crazy. So besides that one scene with the egg, I didn't really see him be crazy. I saw him be young and he had a whole lot of money and he could do whatever he want. And that for him, there didn't seem to be any consequences. That's what I saw. I didn't see anybody who was quote unquote crazy.
That scene with the eggs was enough. But it's like, so what of Perry have we not seen if he's about to see somebody throw behind some eggs?
Right. That's what I was wondering, because I didn't see any evidence of him being like really crazy. Or maybe that's just me saying that's the character I like the most.
I didn't see evidence of him being crazy either. I saw a little broken kid who just needed some type of attention, and yeah, I felt that for him the whole time.
Yeah,
Perry is cunning. I did love his character. Again, I agree with you. I hated to see him go, especially so soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, who was next? Which? Okay, you know what? We haven't talked about Roderick's sister
Or their mama.
Or their mom. Yeah.
What are you ready?
Oh, the drama.
I had a whole lot of questions. Like, was she really dead? And how long was she in the earth?
Right. That was really confusing.
Yeah, it was freaky.
Did that connect with anything that he had ever written?
The only thing I could think of, well, never mind. I was thinking of something different.
I was about to say I want to dig deeper and figure out seriously like what was up with that scene. It was that the onset of them just willing to do whatever they had to do to get by in this world, even if it was quote unquote selling their souls. As far as the mom, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe she really wasn't dead. Like, not necessarily a possession, but just literally buried alive. I don't know.
I think she was. I don't know, because like once they realized that they're not doctors. They just touched her chest and they're like, she's dead, and thought it's not. But even when she came out and she started like choking the son, I'm like, was she? I mean, I don't know what that was about. And then she stopped and then went straight for Mr. Fortunato. That was very strange.
To me, depending on what kind of disease she had, especially then, they had these diseases that sometimes will make you go mad, quote unquote, so she was already essentially deteriorating in that way before she actually allegedly died. So that part, I guess, didn't surprise me because her mind had already been declining.
Yeah.
So to me, that part wasn't particularly shocking because she already went crazy. First of all, because you will never be with this man. He treats you like crap. Oh, the irony. Oh, the lessons. In that whole situation, you're working for this man. He's not claiming your kids. You're trying to preach the word over your kids. That whole situation was just sick in and of itself.
Not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be some flowers in the attic type situation going on. Loki, I haven't got to that yet, but Loki, I still think it's something going on with Roderick and Madeline. I Loki thought it was gonna be some flowers in the attic type stuff going on.
They were definitely odd. I will say that I'm an odd set of twins.
Wait, they're twins?
Yeah, they're twins.
Oh,
they're twins.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, they're twins.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I just thought, okay, so what I could tell from episode 1 was that she was the mean sibling, and Roderick was the nice one, the laid back one. Like,
I thought protective.
Protective.
Not
I mean, that doesn't preclude you from being protective because you're nice.
Yeah.
No, but that was just what I got, and I didn't really understand the dynamics between the two of them. Like, why was it that she was quote unquote smarter than him if they're twins? You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't figure that out.
But you know how it is within most families, how the structure can be with siblings, let alone twins. Like, you have some that's just like, okay, I'm a go-getter. I have deemed myself the family, liaison, provider, whatever it is. And then you have some siblings that take a more passive role. Now, with them living so close to their father that didn't actually claim them, that treated their mother and them like crap, those types of things affect the psyche differently with people. I think Madeline just dug her heels in, realized early on, life is tough. You got to fight back. And this is the path that I'm taking, which is, not uncommon for me with some women. Like, we just mature a little bit faster, have to fight a little bit harder than men. But that's just my opinion.
I can see that.
I was just going to mention something that I know H-Town Fifi hadn't gotten to yet, so I decided not to say anything. So yeah, I'll hold my comment for later. Okay, so so that was actually episode 2. But in episode 1, we also saw the introduction of a particular character. It was the attorney, the black guy who was the attorney.
August Dupont.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What was his deal? Like, is there any connection with his character and the literary works of Edgar Allan Poe?
I don't know if they would have just created him out of nowhere. I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't know.
I did think
that the works and figure it out. I mean, nonetheless, definitely.
I mean, when we think about even like Telltale Heart, when the police show up, it's almost like he kind of represents like, I know something's going on, and even though I don't know it for sure, like something is going on, and I'm going to figure it out. That's kind of how the police were even in Telltale Heart. Like they were almost bought in by that character, I forget his name, where he was like, I'm not going crazy. Like this is what was happening. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I feel like some point he kind of represents maybe all of those characters. I don't know. Where they know
something's really great point. I didn't even think about that one. That's true, because the police do come in and Telltale Heart, and he's basically going crazy. Like, you don't hear that? You don't hear that? And within the show, Roderick is having these hallucinations and everything, mm-hmm. and the police are still there, and they're like,
because they kind of because he's trying to make them believe nothing's wrong with him in Telltale mm-hmm. Heart. And so finally, like he breaks down. He's like, I did it, like in the actual story, right? Like, and so I'm thinking like you can tell even with like Dupont and Roderick how Dupont doesn't really know exactly what's happening, even though Roderick is going crazy, and like throughout mm-hmm. the series, but. I don't think that Dupont knows for sure that he's hallucinating and all those things just yet, that he's going crazy. I don't even know that's really what's happening for me. I'm assuming.
No, that's a great point, because it makes 100% sense. Thank you for that, because I didn't even think about him being just a representation of like, okay, these are a combination. He's a combination of all of the policemen that showed up. So that's a good point, mm-hmm. because essentially what Dupont wants is a confession, and, mm-hmm. and the main character ultimately does confess, like you said. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
So I'm wondering why. So one thing that I noticed about this particular show, a lot of the characters are either gay or bi or somewhere on the spectrum. Why do you mm-hmm. think they decided to do that with this particular show?
I think that, like, the more that I think about, because I noticed that as well. Like, even Dupont is a gay black man, right? I think that when you think of like just literature
from the 60s and who got married to his husband.
Yeah. But when you think about literature, and you think about back when Edgar Allan Poe was writing these works, people they didn't have gay characters. Like it wasn't something that was just like, even though you knew they were gay people, right? You just didn't know, like it wasn't in works of art, right? And so I think it's almost like a call to action nowadays. Like while we know that people like that you had gay people even back then, no one was representing them in works of art, right? And so now it's just like we know that was going on. Like let's give people like let's make that visible even in our works now. Like let's modernize it to make sure that is there. I think it's just like really the right thing to do so that everybody sees themselves in these things. Like when you think about even Shakespeare, they didn't have. Well, maybe they did. I don't really like Shakespeare like that. I'm just thinking about that. We're going over Romeo and Juliet.
What's his name? In Romeo and Juliet, it starts with an M.
Mercutio.
Yeah, Mercutio. Yeah, him. Someone told me that he was a gay character. I didn't see it, but I mean, maybe who? I don't know. Anyway.
I do feel like in this show it was an overtone though, as far as being fluid. I feel like it was an overtone because literally, like most of the kids. Had all of that going on. So
either they had all that going on, or they just got off on weird stuff. Like even the redhead chick with the husband who she likes to see him play out the day with a version of her, I guess. Like and she gets off on that. Like that's weird. Like who does that? To the audience out there, hey, if that's what you do, hey, in the show.
I mean, to each his own.
Some of us are warriors, apparently.
I mean, there are a lot of people like that.
Yeah, it was
really. I mean, I've never
definitely an overtone though. Like.
Yeah.
Representation is one thing, but I think that was a good question because there's an overtone as opposed to just representation.
I've had a few people be like,
the theme.
I've had a few people be like, hey, next time you get busy, why don't you just put it on FaceTime and let me watch.
No, that is not. It wasn't that though. It was because the women that she would have coming in there, she wanted someone who looked like her to act like her. Is that okay? I mean, I don't know. I've never heard of that before. Like that was interesting.
That's a different kind of kink. That's a different kind of kink. That's a different kind of kink. That's a little more beyond voyeurism because you want a replica of yourself. Like you don't want to actually do these things with your husband.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. It was like towards the end of the series, we realized that she didn't even love him. So why was she even doing that? Like none of that made sense at all. I mean, it was good for the story. But it just didn't make sense.
Yeah. Y'all know this show the whole time watching it. I'm like, it reminded me so much of Umbrella Academy. And I don't know why. I mean, guessing because all the different.
You watched that.
Huh?
I didn't know you watched it.
Yeah, so I can't wait
for
the next season to come out.
Yeah, it was the last season, right?
Huh?
You know it's the last season.
You know,
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
you know why it reminded you of the Umbrella Academy?
Why? All
It
these
reminded you
really
of the Umbrella Academy because all them kids was fucked up. Every last
Yeah.
one of them.
very true. Very true.
But I don't know, even like the bickering among them and like how they navigated each other. The kids were crazy behind their
Yeah.
father.
A strained
Being
relationship
the way
with
they
their
were.
father, and he was
And no
always pitting them
mother.
against each other.
Yeah. That's another dynamic, another theme. Like how fathers be the ones really to mess kids up and stuff. Well, because of this, like, or like a man with all this money and needing to have all these kids. Like, like trying to build a legacy or something. I don't know. Even though throughout this entire series, the
You know what
father,
else I
I
love?
think the father was crazy. I felt bad for him too.
Look, I love how they wove in the pharmaceutical companies and came for them. I loved it.
Mhm.
I'm like Ligadone. I love how they wove that in because this is where we live. Okay, look,
Yeah.
this is where we live. So I thought
Yeah.
that was just so scandalous. Like, you got rich off of killing people.
Off of killing people,
Is it
off of
not
just
where
being
we live?
greedy. Even how he talked about, like, there was one scene where he said, "What do you do with lemons?" And DuPont was like, "You make lemonade." And he was like, "No, you do this, and that, and then you make lemonade." And I'm listening, like, damn, that's really
That's
what
exactly what
they
they
do.
do. That's exactly what
Yeah.
they do. I was just watching. Do y'all watch?
Right. You convince,
what
first of
is
all,
it
you
called? The
convince
morning
people that
show.
there's a shortage of lemons.
Mhm.
Do you all watch the morning show on Apple TV?
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it. I don't have
So,
Apple TV actually.
so there was a particular scene, and this had to have been like the final season of this particular show. But anyway, the guy, he was basically saying, and this is the guy who's dating Jennifer Aniston, but he's basically saying the exact same thing, different scenario, but the exact same thing. In other words, this is what they all do. This is what they all do.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing with the world market like it's just their background. I mean, their backyard.
That's what they're doing right now. Think about inflation, how crazy food, how expensive food is, and we just, they're doing all that right
Look,
now.
y'all, there's a shortage of lemons. After this month, lemons are not going to exist. But what we found out about lemons is they can cure a multitude of diseases. You got a headache, rub a lemon on your head. You have eczema, rub a lemon on there. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
is this not what happens? So I love how they wove that in. Like, yeah, pharmaceutical companies or something else. But yeah.
Okay,
It's
now
like I
what
wanted
was
to.
episode 2?
Episode
That
2,
was
that was
the
with
mask-
Prospero.
Yeah, the massacre.
No,
Right there.
Oh, so he died in episode 2.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Now,
mhm. Now,
No,
are we
go
like delayed? Is everybody delayed?
no, I'm not delayed. I just stopped because I knew you were about to say something. Go ahead.
I was trying to figure out which character was the second to youngest, and I can't figure it out.
I don't know.
I don't remember. My
It may
memory's
have
off.
been Camille. It may have been Camille.
Which one is that?
Yeah.
She's the one next to Madeline.
PR.
She's the
Okay.
one who had no freaking soul and could spin anything. Like you always tell
Oh,
me,
yeah, she was good.
you missed your calling in PR. You can spin anything. No, Camille.
Oh yeah,
With a
and
spinning
she was another one. That was my second favorite because Fifi, you hadn't gotten there yet. Well, maybe you did. When she dies,
She did.
well,
She finished screen.
Yeah, I
She's on
saw
four.
that. I saw that.
oh,
And
I
she
mean,
was like, "Let's do it already."
when her assistants are also her assistants.
Mhm.
Listen,
I was like, yes.
she had.
It's like y'all
Camille had
I
a,
required a lot from my assistants.
I require lots.
You signed an NDA, and when you're laying in the bed and that feeling goes away, you're gonna know you fucked up. But yeah,
Camille
that was
a
another thing. I was like, man, all these siblings, they just all have some type of weird thing about them. The only one that I haven't seen yet that has to be weird about them is gonna be Freddie.
Which one is that?
I mean, the
Is it the
older
one that plays
brother,
the game?
Oh, Freddie's
yeah,
the one
you
that's
haven't seen
always
him.
bowling.
You hadn't
Oh,
seen
one-
him.
Keep watching.
the one who don't never take the elevator.
You hadn't seen that one.
Keep
Yeah, I
watching.
haven't seen that one yet.
Keep watching.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And actually, the black chick, I didn't really think.
Victorine.
Yeah, like she
Victor
just.
Reed. I like her. I cannot wait for our other show to come back on.
Which one? Oh, the Peripheral. They canceled it.
Yeah. What?
They canceled it.
It's like, what?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was surprised too because it was really good.
That was a really good show.
It's what I've realized is if your first episode is slow, people in general are not going to continue to watch it.
It was kind of slow.
It picked
I
up.
want to see that white girl and that black man. I want to see them together. I like them. Well, that was a good show. But I like Victorine. I like her in every show she's in.
Yeah, she's really good. She's good.
She's
actress.
good.
But anyway, let's talk
Victorine
about
made me want to choke her out. Victorine,
You said
she
you wanted
may want to choke her out. I want to choke Victorine out because she wasn't acting
Why?
like a victor at all.
explain.
Victorine's stupid. She's so thirsty behind this product of hers and to please her daddy. Like Victorine was tripping. Victorine was straight up tripping. Like, now don't get me wrong, she's very attractive. I like watching her as a character, but I still want to choke her out. It's like, no, baby girl, this ain't the way. This is not it. You too hot and ready like Little Caesar's Pizza. You gotta calm down. You gotta ease into stuff. Victorine was a bull in a china shop.
I loved her comebacks. Like she had like these great comebacks. It was as simple as this.
No.
That's all we did.
Do we find out why Camille hates Vic so much? Because I feel like whenever Camille was about to be when she was about to die, the Raven pretty much broke it down for her why. But I wonder if they ever make that super clear, like something in their childhood or something.
At least within
Because
the realm
even
of the
remember
show.
Camille's assistant was like, why do you hate her so much? And he was like, I mean, I have a sister, I hate her too, but why do you hate your sister so much?
I had the same concern, and I remember I saw it. I saw the explanation, but I still had questions, and so I'm just like, I can't answer that question.
I like it, like how she said, y'all, and on the inside, y'all are exactly the same, but Vic hides it better than you do. And that's where I was like, maybe Camille is a little jealous of that.
I was about to say, I'm wondering if it was jealous because, I mean, you have the other siblings, but Victorine is sharp. She's very intelligent, and so they lean on Camille for for all of the public relations stuff. She can spin anything. She can get them out of stuff. And Victorine stands to change the world with this device, with this creation of hers. So I'm wondering, like you said, if it's just a bit of jealousy because it's like, okay, we have all of these ushers, but Camille is the go-to. She is the go-to.
It could have been something as simple as, in terms of the perspective of Roger, I already have a child for that. I need someone who can do this, and you're smart enough to do it, so I need you to do it. But from her perspective, the way that she thinks was like, yeah, I can do it, but I can do so many other things. Why aren't you letting me do those other things? And perhaps that was part of her issue.
Yeah,
and why she has that she has, and so much of her assistance. I gotta get me some assistance.
but
one male, one female.
the way she did them. Oh, you're in love.
That's cute. Funny. She was annoyed.
Yeah.
So who's the next child that died?
I've only seen 2 so far. I'm about to see the
Leo.
gamer. That's Leo.
Yeah,
that's the gamer.
Yeah, so I think Leo. Yeah,
so
Leo is up next.
So you know what? I think I see myself in so many of these characters, and that's a shame. I must be crazy. I must be crazy.
It's perfect. That's the point of television. You want these characters to resonate with you. That means that's good goddamn writing. Right. That's the point.
It was when he's playing the game, sitting on the sofa, talking to his boyfriend. Why are you getting hit?
Right. Normally I can predict those sorts of things. I did not see that coming though. I was like, no pun intended, but I did not see that coming. I was like,
wasn't he cheating on him with the girl?
Huh?
Wasn't he cheating on her at one point? Like I feel like the first episode that I saw him in at the house, he put a girl out on the.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. That's what
bad. I like Leo too though.
Yeah, Leo for me,
and the relationship that he had with Prospero.
Yeah. I like that too.
I thought it was cute. I think it was so cute. Like he's like, hey, I'm pretty much a bastard too. It's cool.
Yeah, because all of them were bastards except for the older 2, right?
Correct.
Freddie and the other girl. Okay. Dang, now I'm anxious to see what happened between their marriage, because it seemed like Annabelle. Remember he would say the poems of my sweet Annabelle. I'm curious to see what happened to them 2 for him to just go off and start having all these babies with all these different people. Are they going to tell us that?
They will. It was tragic.
Finish the show.
Okay.
It really is. It really is an excellent show.
Well, even with Edgar Allan Poe and Annabelle, she does die. That has a tragic ending too.
Most of his works do. Well, not most. All of his works do.
Yeah, that man was
they all ended tragic.
Y'all know Edgar Allan Poe, from my understanding, he died in like his early 30s. He was young.
Mm-hmm. That much I do remember.
Yeah, he a little crazy to have written all of that.
I won't say crazy. I'm going to say genius.
Representation of an artist.
Most artists are
quote unquote crazy. Genius comes with a price. Think about Van Gogh, sliced off his ear. Think about even the artists that we covet these days, drug addiction. I'm not going to.
You know what you do behind closed doors. Watermelon.
True. True.
But a lot of the people that we see as greats have these struggles that are just beyond them with drugs, with addictions of all kinds, you name it. Like I feel like there is a penalty sometimes, and there may be a poor choice of words that comes with all that genius. Some people genuinely just go crazy with all that genius. And I can not to put myself on the pedestal, but I feel like sometimes just personally, and this is just Elia telling a little bit of her business, suffer with anxiety behind functioning the way that I do, like with creativity. It's a struggle. I can only imagine being someone as talented as Edgar Allan Poe in the 1800s. There is no Netflix. There is no Google. There are none of these things. Right. And you have this larger than life gift and of expression.
Yeah.
So
and the world is watching and wanting more and more and more. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah. That's a lot of pressure.
Anything else about the first 4 episodes that we want to talk about?
Nothing specifically about the first 4, but off camera, Fifi asked a question, or it may have been Jermaine, about a season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I just don't know how they would work it in with how they closed out season 1. But if you're listening, creators, writers, we would love a season 2. we would love a season 2 because a season 1 was so yummy. It was so yummy.
Well,
and there's so many more works. Oh my God.
So look, listen. So your girl, what's her name? Did we see her die? The sister?
Raven?
The sister.
Oh, Madeline.
Madeline, yes.
We saw her die?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot already.
Yes.
Okay. Because I remember she was in the basement or something.
Go back to the last episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, there's only 8 episodes, right?
I'm going to say allegedly. I'm going to say, did we see her take her last breath? No. But the way that it's concluded, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
Especially with the closure of the I don't want to say soliloquy from the Raven, but it's pretty much a done deal.
I still think that there could be a season 2, just a different family, and their name doesn't have to be Usher.
Mm-hmm. They could weave. They have a large catalog to perform. I'll say that. There are some works that I have not read, and this show is just propelling me into the direction of let me go and just some of the works that I've never ever read one line of. Didn't even know there was like the Gold Bug, for instance. Didn't know that was like a thing. So
right.
That's just making me want to go and into the vault of Edgar Allan Poe and appreciate some of these works that I haven't read. Especially, I feel like a poser calling myself a fan of Poe, and it's like, wait, I've never heard of this one. Like,
but consider all of the writers who, like, every writer had to like really dive into his works to be able to kind of make this come to life. But I would say even the characters, like, I wonder if they went and read some of those works to just like dive deeper into like what it should feel like as they were like diving into their character.
Yeah, no doubt.
And to be able to like intertwine all of the different works together for this piece.
Not a small feat at all. Yeah. Not by far. I am really good at finding what is wrong. I did not have an issue with any flat acting in this show. Like, wasn't there. Like, not by far. Like, it was just amazing. It was a roller coaster ride the entire way through. And like I said, sex, drugs, rock and roll, you name it, it was here. So,
and I really, one thing I appreciated, because normally, like, okay, if y'all know about This Is Us and how the show started off going back and forth, and you're like, what the fuck is really happening? But that very first episode, when it all comes together, you're like, oh my God, that's them and that's him, and that, it's really great. And but before This Is Us, I would hate shows like that. Like, just keep it with one storyline, please. Going back and back and forth in time, that's annoying. But I actually really appreciated how they did this with Madeline and Roderick when they were young, and then when they were adults, and then with the kids, and how they keep going back and forth to make like the connection. It actually makes sense.
It made you
keep doing that.
Love the characters. It made you have empathy for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, y'all are awful freaking human beings, but everybody has a backstory. So
I have so much empathy for Roderick, and this is again still me on episode 4, but I feel he seemed like a good man, like a good husband, a good father, from what I've seen so far. But and I'm just on the point where we learned that his signature has been forged.
Look, he's hell bent on not being his father.
Yeah.
Hey, if you my child, just come on in the fold.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still gonna do some shady crap.
And I don't think I've gotten to all that part because I feel so sad for him. Like, why is him?
I didn't feel sad for him initially because in episode 1 you put a bounty out and started all kinds.
I'm talking about the young Roderick.
Okay.
That's why I was like, wait a minute. So that's why I'm curious. It's like what turned him into who he is today. That's why I'm anxious to keep watching to be like, what turned? Because I do have empathy for him as like a young boy, and then like a young man trying to feed his family, and his oldest son didn't even have medicine. Like, it's a lot that
M&M's. That's what turned him into that person. M&M's, money, and Madeline.
Madeline. Annabelle told him, I do not like your sister. I don't like her. Madeline was that.
Annabelle Lee could read that help, she knew that Madeline had something that Roderick did not, and that was a lack of a soul.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited to watch the rest tonight. Well, I'm probably gonna make it to like episode 6 tonight, and I'll watch the other 2 at work tomorrow. I'm just kidding.
I'll edit that part out.
We don't want your head on the spike, Fifi. No. But it's an exceptional show. You're gonna enjoy these next few episodes for sure. Put the subtitles on. Don't fall asleep. Don't miss a second. Like, it's that good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. Well, thank you all so very much for watching. Don't forget to kiss the subscribe button, click on the like button, share us on all your social media, nibble on the notification button, and make love to our senses in the comments. Until next time, see you.